Hey guys, welcome back to Comet Chaser's Typical Branding Pitfall series. We are part 3 of 8 today. And today we're covering undifferentiated expected messaging. And actually, while creating the content for this branding pitfall, I decided to move indistinct packaging up into this branding pitfall as well. And the reason why that is just packaging is just another messaging touch point. So if you have an indistinct packaging expression, then you're just kind of blending in with the rest of the category. It's essentially undifferentiated and something I expect in the category. So they merge very well together here. So this is a pitfall that I typically see when you're entering or you're playing within an established category, right? There's like, you're following in the footsteps of the category leader. And this is actually very much easier to see in store. So like, I encourage you to go in store, go to some of the shelves, and you'll start to identify like the 1 or 2 category leaders that are out there and how everyone is copying them. And it's very difficult, I would almost say impossible, to overtake a category leader if you're just following in the footsteps, right? You overtake a leader by becoming a leader in your own right. Not rocket scientists, right? So I love this quote from Raymond Leroy, the mid-century design legend. If something is familiar, make it surprising. If it's surprising, make it familiar, right? So like our familiar is this established category. There's these codes and these conventions and these things that we're conditioned to think about and expect from this category. For our job here is to make it surprising. This is the same thing as zig when other people zag. So your first step here is just to zoom out and take stock of the landscape. Do due diligence and see what's going on in the category. So a lot of times brands, marketers, even agencies skip this due diligence because they just assume that they know the category very, very well, right? They're like, I know skincare, I know liquor, I know snacks, I know whatever. And like, so I don't need to do this. And there's a real risk in that because you know this like the back of your hand because you know those codes and you're just following those codes. And when you follow those codes, like I said before, you can't overtake the leader if you're just kind of following the footsteps. You do need to play within those codes to be in the category, to look like a skincare brand, to look like a liquor brand, for example, but we want to put our unique spin on that. So in this step 1, we want to look at what beliefs and attributes are your competitors selling, right? Like what positionings are they already occupying? What stories are they telling? This is typically what you'll see in an XY axis, right? It's like all the different like positionings and the stories that are being taken up by your competitors. And maybe there's a white space just within that XY axis. You want to see like, what are the category conventions, right? Like what are the conventions that we're already conditioned to think about when it comes to that category? Maybe there's an opportunity to kind of flip that on its head completely and create a completely new narrative or a completely new convention. And then last but not least, it's what are the category table stakes? Clean, sustainable, sign up for emails, down to that level. They're table stakes for a reason. So you can't just throw them away. I expect to, potentially in some categories and some brands, I want clean, I want sustainable. But when all your competitors are saying clean, sustainable over and over again, it's not sticky, it's not memorable, right? So like our job here is to put a unique almost spin on that as well to kind of become more sticky and take up that mind share space in our consumers' minds. Sometimes, when you're looking out and looking at these category inventions, like something surprise you. So like, for example, when I was looking at the maternity wear brand, there was this like category invention of using the word mama, it's just it's a small little thing, but it caught my attention because I was like, oh, that's interesting. And it makes sense for the category, right? It's like mama feels more sophisticated versus the word mom feels a little bit dumpy and old fashioned, right? When we look at the lube category, we look at the sex category, it's all about the big O, it's all about the climax. That's not surprising at all. Like they're conventions for a reason. What we want to do those conventions, step 2, as I've already alluded to, no surprise to anyone, is to employ your unique spin to it, right? So if we go back to the maternity wear and we go back to the lube, with the mama word, it was paired with this beautiful people insight when I was talking to consumers. And what they were telling me was like, when people find that I'm expecting, all they see is the label mom on my head, and I am nothing else to them. And they're like, what are you do? What gender is it? Blah, blah, blah. Can I touch your belly? All that kind of stuff. And they're like, I'm a fully fledged badass woman, and I have so much other attributes that are great about me, and I'm more than just an expecting mom. So knowing that and pairing that together, this category invention of the word mama being used over and over again, and their desire to be seen more than just mom, the strategy was pretty simple. It's like treat her more than just mom. With this brand, we actually just didn't use the words mama or mom at all. We said, we are here to trust you and your bump, right? So that's already a completely fresh new narrative that could be very exciting for the category to shake things up. With the Loop brand, right? So like when I was talking to my consumers in this particular project, I just kind of zoomed down, was like, why do you have sex? What's your favorite part of the act? And what they were telling me is like, this is the closest you can physically get to another person. It's all about intimacy. It's all about connection, right? No one was like, it's all about the intercourse and the orgasm, right? Because their favorite part of the act is either the foreplay or the cuddling. And so just even positioning a Loop brand that's all about connection and intimacy puts you in a completely different space than all the same conventions that we're talking about over and over and over again. In this case, I only talked to 4 different consumers here, and I wanted to make sure that this was a bigger cultural thing. And there was a beautiful fact from the Journal of Sexual Medicine that 92% of women and 88% of men said that the most important attribute to their sexual fantasy was romance, which is essentially connection intimacy. So just creating a Loop brand that really hangs its hat on that puts you in a completely different space, right? You're leading the conversation, leading that narrative in a really exciting way. Your key questions here to ask is, are you different enough, right? Can your competitors easily do or say the same thing as you? Because if they can, you're not different enough, and you need to go back to the drawing board here. And I want you to employ your unique spin up and down this kind of like brand pyramid here, from the tippy top to the minutia at the very bottom. And it's really easy to do this if you have an inspired why already, right? So like once you have your inspired why, that kind of umbrellas everything here. So if you missed part 1, please go back to that and we talk about how to identify your inspired why and what that is and all that lovely stuff. I also wanted to give you an example on how to put your unique spin on just your table stakes reasons to believe, right? You're like, Bennett, how the hell do I make clean and sustainable and sign up for emails unique and ownable? So with this one, I'm using the brand Exponent, which is a clinical skincare brand. It's all about like high performance, clinical potent ingredients. So clean, instead of saying just clean, we say high performance clean ingredients. Instead of saying sustainable, we say precision dosed refillable packaging. Instead of saying sign up for emails, we say optimize emails for high achieving humans. We're essentially still messaging, throwing the same ball of like clean, sustainable, sign up for emails. But now in this saying messaging in this way, it's much more sticky. It's much more ownable. It's going to much more likely to take hold of the mind share within your consumer's mind. And that's really what we're after. So just to recap, your key question here is, are you different enough? Your strategy is to zig when others zag. And please, 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 if you do nothing else, do your competitive due diligence. Because at the end of the day, when you're entering and playing an established category, you're asking consumers to make a trade. You're asking them to break brand loyalty, right? Because chances are they're already using and buying into a particular brand and product. And if you're undifferentiated and you're kind of all the same, like there's no reason to make the trade to you. So that's it for undifferentiated expected messaging and or indistinct packaging. And next week, we have indistinct and or nebulous offering on deck. So this is more about creating a new category or creating a product innovation that we have not yet seen before in an established category. So stay tuned for next time. We'll see you later. Bye.